What if the version of success you're chasing isn't actually what you want? Can you define success on your terms and change course to chase your authentic dream life? That is what we're talking about on today's episode of Lead Well with Jacqui, where we are joined by another Jacqui. Jacqui Toumbas is a Brisbane-based content creator, nutritionist, and founder of Savor the Slow, a sold-out retreat series in southern Italy that celebrates food, culture, and meaningful connection. After owning the beloved cafe Miss Bliss, she transitioned into digital storytelling, working with brands across food, travel, and lifestyle. She now also mentors entrepreneurs through her business masterminds and strategy sessions, helping others build intentional, purpose-led businesses. Whether she's curating a dinner party, hosting dinner with strangers, or creating online content, Jacqui is driven by a love of good food, human connection, and helping people design lives they genuinely enjoy. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome, Jacqui.
Thank you. I love hearing how other people introduce me. I find it so fascinating.
It's so funny because as I was going through that, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. You just created this beautiful, I love this idea of a portfolio career, but it's just all of those little components that you work on are just amazing. I'm just super excited to get into it.
Me too.
So given that, I would love to hear you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. I think in the last maybe 10 years, have been on this incredible journey of I don't know if you say self-discovery, it's so cliche, but discovered what I really want and my vision of success. And what I do now, which is multifaceted, all the things you spoke about, I still, as you say that, go, oh, do I do that? Is that what I get to do every day? So I've created this beautiful life. I am a content creator, and a few months ago, probably never would have come out and said I'm confident to say I'm a content creator because there's so much negative connotation with it. Recently started hosting dinner with strangers, but more to nurture my community and create community, because I think all of us, from being online for so long, are craving community. After my trip to Italy in 2023, I launched Savor the Slow, which is a slow travel retreat. It's like food, culture, slow travel, all about connection to food, connection to each other, connection to the culture in Italy, and also do my women in business mentoring and strategy sessions. So I do a lot. And in a way, it all intertwines. From the outside, it might look very separate. I talk a lot with my hands, by the way, if you didn't notice.
Love that. For those who are not watching, just imagine.
Yeah. So for me, life is pretty great and multifaceted, and there's not one thing, I guess, that's off the cards. So in terms of content creation, I work with brands from international appliance companies. I have an ambassadorship. I went over to Germany last year to meet the team, and that was a pinch me moment. I also work with local brands. I have a series called Eat Like a Local, which I'm so passionate about because I'm born and bred in the hospitality industry, and I get to share my favorite places with people and, get to help local businesses. So for me, there is so much that I do, and I don't think we can roll it into one perfect little box. And next week you might see me doing something totally different. But my main course of what I do is creating community, nurturing women in business, and helping them, I think, find that financial freedom to be able to, in a way, I always say, some people think of financial freedom as having the cars and the houses and things like that. And I go, my goal, if I can do one thing, is to be able to create financial freedom to help women live the life they want. So for me, that was freezing my eggs at the age of 32. That is being able to have lunches with my grandma who lives downstairs. That is what I do, and that's what I want to be able to give other people as well.
Yeah. You know what I love? I love that when I did your sort of intro that you were like, wow, I love that that's that's me, that you're talking about me. I think a lot of women in particular, we get to a certain stage in our life, and I think for a lot of us, if someone was to read something like our bio, we'd go, oh, yeah, like I
Yeah.
love that. I really sense that. What is it like pride? Is it passion? Is it like,
I
it feels
think
really intentional.
I'm very, so the way the fact that you say intentional is it has come up so much lately in people describing me, and I love that, because if I can be one thing, is be intentional and authentic, to be able
Mm,
to, I guess, represent for others that you don't have to be, we were just saying before, you don't have to be in your masculine, you don't have to be hard, you don't have to be, um, I'm going to say it again, but in your toxic girl boss era, like, you don't
mm,
have to be in that. You can be soft, you can be intentional. Trust me, I get loud and crazy sometimes too, but I love that I can work from this space now for myself
mm,
and for the clients I work with, and be able
mm.
to show that.
Yeah, I love that too. I often say to my clients, like the goal is that when you go to bed at night, you go, yeah, I showed up today in the way that I chose,
Yeah.
like how I wanted to. I lived my authentic self, and now I can sleep well,
Yeah.
rather than that whole idea of like, oh, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Like, why didn't I take that opportunity? Or why did I take that job offer that I actually don't even want, you
Yeah.
know? So what has shaped your journey so far? Like, how did you get to this point of intentional,
It,
amazing life?
like I said, it's been a long journey, and it's been multiple things. I come from a very like ethnic family. My family are Greek,
Mm-hmm.
and my first start of business was shaped by expectations, I feel. So there were quite a lot of expectations, and not in a bad way, but it was also me feeling like I had to fit into a box. So I went with that. I went along with that. And I realized, well, if this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, I don't want to be unhappy, and I don't want to feel like I'm constantly running on a treadmill and not getting anywhere. And that's
Mm,
how I felt. And it got to the point where, with my cafe, Miss Bliss, loved it, learned so much from it, made the best connections. And only now, stepping out of it, I can say, wow, I'm so proud of it and what I built. But it was really hard in it.
mm-hmm.
And what I noticed was, we shut down during COVID, and I spent a lot of time at home. And my grandparents live on the bottom level of my apartment block. And I spent nearly every day with my grandfather, playing cards, having lunch. And at the end of COVID, he passed away. And it was the most beautiful experience with grief I've ever had. And it
Wow.
made me realize that I don't want all the shiny things. I don't I don't need to have multiple cafes. I don't need to have everything else. So I sort of pared it back and go, well, what is my vision of success? And a lot of this came through a lot of inner work.
Mm-hmm.
And my vision of success was having slow mornings, being able to spend time with my family, especially my grandparents, being able to travel, because I had been putting off travel for years. I thought for me to be able to travel, I had to find my husband. I was waiting. It's like I was waiting to
Oh.
start my life to find my partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, nope, that's not going to happen anymore. Sold the cafe. I went straight into consulting, which was so much fun. Don't get me wrong. But this is where I feel like my masculine ramped up,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't dealing with just my own expectations anymore. I was dealing with all my clients' expectations, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, nope, I need to do this, and I need to be like this, and I need to present a certain way. Like, I need to make sure I'm wearing collared shirts all the time and all these things, and, be businessy,
Yeah. Fit the
um,
mold.
fit the mold. And when I was doing that, I realized it still wasn't changing how I felt on the
Mm.
inside, and it still didn't feel as fulfilling. And I was more anxious than when I had the cafe, because I was holding all these people's expectations on myself. So I started to find boundaries, my favorite word,
Mm.
and set boundaries in place. I had to fire my first client, which was like so
Yeah.
hard, but also so exciting.
Yeah.
And I went through this journey to then when I booked my dream holiday in 2023 to Italy, a place that I always said I would do with my life partner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so cliche, but that trip changed my life. And on that trip, I was able to then understand how far I had really come within myself. And in a way, I say that like it was that time that I was away, I was able to sort of mourn the old Jacqui and appreciate the new Jacqui.
Oh, that's so interesting, that idea of like mourning our previous
Yeah.
version
So
of ourselves.
a lot of people say to me, like, what was the moment that changed it all for you? There was no moment. It was like over a 2-year period of inner work, but there was a moment that I acknowledged the change in myself. And I acknowledge that I can be vulnerable. I can drop the ego. I think ego is huge in business, and
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're, sole working by yourself. I can drop that, and I'm still going to be successful. And they were sort of the things that I started to understand. And I can be in my feminine and do the things I love, and still have a successful business. I don't need to feel like everything's an argument, or like I don't have to put a wall up.
Mm.
So that's when it started to change for me. And that was the process where it happened. And from there was when I really started to look at how I connect with people, which is also my audience, my online audience. So, after traveling and sharing, I was very vulnerable in that 2-week period time traveling. I was actually away for 8 weeks, but it was particularly 2 weeks in southern Italy that like highlighted it all for me. And it was then that I decided to be more vulnerable, to be able to give more. And then I came back and I feel like my life totally flipped and changed.
Mm.
And so over the period of coming back to 1 year after that, I made little changes. Like I got rid of all my consulting clients. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore because it's actually not a job I love. I want to work with different, like I really want to support women in business and in all different industries. I also want to facilitate conversation and connection. And
Mm.
that's how my retreats were born, because I wanted to, there's a really beautiful thing happens when you travel to somewhere like Southern Italy. So I talk about this so much. So when you're in home, I'm in Brisbane, I'm in Australia, I am a daughter, I am a sister, I am a granddaughter, a business owner, a friend. I have so many expectations.
Auntie is
Auntie,
important,
I am the
right? Yeah,
cool aunt as
that's a good
well, which
word.
is really
Yeah.
difficult. But
Not
there's,
anyone can be a cool
yeah,
auntie.
you just need to give them those lollies and hand them back.
Yeah.
But I have so many expectations on me, right?
Mm.
So the moment I get to somewhere like Southern Italy that is so soft and so um, free, and in the
Mm.
countryside especially, that's not around tourism, you feel this weight fall off you, and I can be whoever I want. And it's not saying that I'm not my authentic self here, but I can be my true authentic self because no one has an expectation of me because no one knows me.
Mm.
And it was that made me realize this is the experience I want to give others. And so then with my experience in business, I was able to turn that into a business, which I love and adore. And then realizing that I realized a few days ago, talking to someone, that when I had the cafe, I used to say, and I even hate repeating this out loud, is I used to say, oh, I hate people. Like, I don't like people. I can't.
Mm.
I used to say that all the time. And I'm like, that is so awful. Like, even at a throwaway like comment,
Mm.
now I'm like, I crave connection. Like I crave my dinner. I can't wait till my next dinner with strangers because it fills my cup so much, even though I needed like half a day afterwards to like, because I'm such
Yeah.
an introvert. But I love that. And I love seeing that. What I love most is seeing it happen with it. Like I facilitate it, but not me starting it. So when I see two of my guests on retreat sitting down having a beautiful conversation, I'm like,
Do you do like a little fist bump? Like, yes,
I remember there was one night
working.
we were sitting under the stars between the olive groves, and I was actually wearing this jumper, so it makes me think of it. I was like sitting back, and it felt like that out of body experience, like I was an angel, well, not an angel, but like that when a ghost or someone dies in the
Looking
movies.
down, yeah.
That's what I felt like
Mm.
watching these people hold space for each other, connect, talk everything about like from life to emotions to business. Like it was just this beautiful mesh of people aged from 30 to 80 years old, women. Like, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think being that sort of facilitator in that is just such a nice experience. And of course, I love hosting like dinner parties and things. So for me, the elements of making it welcoming and, like little place settings, that intentional sort of side there is what I love as well. So it's my creativity that gets to come out. So I've learned the things that I love about creativity, connection, things like that, and how to bring it together in a way that fills my cup, but also is beneficial to the people around me.
Yeah. It, what I'm hearing, like this is what it sounds to me, is that you kind of went through this period of life where you were almost like, I call it the shoulds, right? Like like you said, I should be wearing a collared shirt all the time, and I should go into consulting, and I should want more cafes, and like it almost sounds as though you were kind of trying on these other kind of lives
Mm.
almost on for size until you got to a point, and I think COVID did that for a lot of people, but it sounds like you just kind of, like, I'm a visual person, so in my head it's like you kind of shrugged them off and went, no, hang on, like, but who am I?
Yeah.
Like, what? And this is one of the hardest questions that I ask anyone ever, is what do you want?
Yeah.
Because so many of us have never asked ourselves or had to answer
Mm.
that question,
And I think,
right?
like, for me, that's like my version of success. Like, what do I want? Right.
Yeah.
And it changes and it's allowed to change. Like, my version of success and my why are two things that I look at every year. And I will
Yeah.
think about, this year particularly, my why is to help other women find financial freedom for whatever purpose it is they need, whether it is, like I said, freezing your eggs, or whether it is, buying your own home on your own, or having that, like, whatever reason you have, that's what I like. This year, my why is to support that in any way that I can. And I
Mm.
think it can constantly change. And my vision of success right now isn't launching anything new, because I don't need to launch anything new. But it is, I've said I want to impact X amount of women's lives by the end of this year. And that's whether it's through my mentoring and masterminds, or whether it's through retreats or my dinner with strangers. Like, anyone who comes to one of those events is somehow impacted through connection, business, community, that sort of thing. So for me, that is my vision of success this year.
Yeah. It's like you're dropping a pebble into the lake, right? Like it's that ripple effect of how many lives can you influence that then will go and influence other people's lives. And it's this beautiful, like, ripple knock on
Yeah.
effect of how you can change the world, Jacqui. No pressure. So I actually love that your personal why, your purpose is helping women find that financial freedom, because like you said before, from the outside looking in, people might go, oh, she's doing all of these different things, like, but it's actually, that is the common thread,
Yeah.
right? Is the people that you're helping. So how do you use that lens to make your decisions?
I think it's seeing what, obviously, because I have a social platform,
Mm,
I have a lot of conversations with women,
mm,
and it's seeing what's needed or what comes up. And then I have to sit in it first and go, okay, am I comfortable in that? And a lot of, like, truth being told, a lot of imposter syndrome pops up sometimes.
mm,
But I guess I have a very good mentor that I absolutely adore. And it's really hard when you're doing things on your own. You need a good sounding board.
yeah.
And she is incredible. And I think that's probably a little, no, I wouldn't say a voice of reason, but that helps me guide myself in my decisions in what I do. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I think I look for a need and I go, is this something people would want? Is this something? And usually I test it out to my audience. Hey, would you, like, the dinner with strangers was so random. I was like, oh, because I actually went to something similar, but it was just not with the right people. And I was like, I went to this, and then people are like, why don't you host one? And I was like, maybe I could.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, for me, it's assessing. I'm a very methodical person as well. So I
Yeah.
will, like, assess it in all parts. Like, is this going to be financially viable? How long will this take me in terms of time to organize versus, what comes out of it, and that sort of way.
Yeah. And do you like, is the first or one of the early checkpoints like, does this align to my why? Is this going to drive me closer to that
Like,
goal?
what's the purpose of it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if we look at retreats, it was like, number one, I want to be able to give people a beautiful experience, but then it leads into, well, this is also connection. This is also
Mm,
community. And so for
yeah.
me, that's where it sort of relates back to. But a lot of what I do does stem from my community. It is what my community want, which always is that connection purpose. And I would never, like, if you asked me 10 years ago, I would never think to tell you that, you know, I help people connect or I'm a facilitator of connection. And I think that's sort of like I could use that as my elevator pitch, because in everything I do has some sort of bringing people together for connection.
Yeah. But I love that, like, I love that idea of this like symbiotic relationship where it's, like you and the community that you have created just feed one another.
Mm.
It sounds like, like you check with them. Does everyone, is this something that is wanted or needed? And then no doubt they'll come to you if they think that you'll be able to support them. Like it's a really
Yeah,
nice.
it is. And I think a lot of people are very like, social media can get a bad name,
Totally.
right?
There's a lot of assholes on social
Yes.
media.
And there's a lot of
Let's be real.
negativity. Like,
Yeah.
look, I
Yeah.
get some weird things, but I think there is a beauty in it if
Yeah.
you're willing to move it just from being a social media community. So I have different avenues, and like a lot I talk about also is how people who are content creators can turn it into a business, which I love. Like, also because it's very methodical and I'm like, oh, this is what we need to do. But what I love is that we need to create different touch points. So I
Mhm.
have my Substack email. So my Substack email is, I call it the flavor journal. It is a monthly email where it is like a journal entry. And I started off every single time as we're sitting at my kitchen bench with a cup of tea.
Mm.
I will share recipes. I'll share thoughts about food. My last one was actually a very beautiful one about um, what makes a meal so memorable.
Mm.
And I talk about how before my grandfather passed away, I made focaccia pizza. And that's really the worst focaccia I've ever made, but it is my most memorable focaccia because we ate it together. And so
Yeah.
that journal entry gives that emotional aspect to my audience and allows them to talk to me, like, and have that connection. Where
Mm.
sometimes, because my social media is also my work, I have, brand stuff on there as well and things. But also then I have my intentional impact email list, which is all for business to support women in business. And it's a free way to be able to get some sort of connection with me through business. So I'm a big believer in being able to have different touch points with your audience and with your community, mainly because there are so many out there. And then I'm able to sort of give them a little bit more help in a way rather than me just being like a one way.
Yeah.
So it's definitely very big for me in terms of connection. And I did say this year was my year to do more in person. So being able to take things offline
Yeah.
and do things to connect, because everyone is craving connection so badly and deeply. And in real life connection, like, as much as I can be authentic online, it's still not the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think we get a different sense of like an emotional connection, and it's much deeper, much quicker when we're in person as well. Um, you mentioned before something that came up for you was imposter syndrome. How this is something that comes up really
Yeah.
consistently. How any tips or experiences on how you can work through or
I
navigate that?
don't think there is a way that we will ever eradicate. Like, I will always have imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
but I feel like with the inner work that I've done and sort of understanding myself in a way, I can now move through it, right? So
Mm,
if I'm a retreats, let's talk about, when I launched retreats, I was petrified. Like,
mm,
who's going to do this? Why would people do this? And like this year, I actually have three, which wild that I was like, let's just do three. Also, I don't think I can be away for that long. It'll kill me. But I was petrified for it. Why would people believe me? Why would people want to trust me with their money? I've never done it before. I had to sit down and really think about, well, not why wouldn't people trust me, but the opposite way, and think, okay, well, I have knowledge of this area. I have the connections. It's also not just you're paying me to come on a retreat to organize your food and, your accommodation. It's you're coming because you want to connect with me and with others, something that you can't really get. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, I will sit down, I'll actually write down like what I'm feeling, because when I see it on paper, I'm able to work through it easier. I'm like, okay, Jacqui, that's silly. Like, why would you think that? And one thing that someone said to me, especially going into like whether it's retreats or masterminds or anything like that, is like, you just need to have 1% more knowledge than the person who needs it from you. And like, I think that is like, I'm like, perfect. That is the best way to do it. And then I always will send a follow-up email after anything I do with feedback or testimonials, because then it's sort of that way that when it comes to the next retreat or the next mastermind or masterclass, I'm like, Jacqui, don't get so caught up in your own head and think, you have proven to do this already. And it just gives me that, it's like a little safety blanket for me to be like, actually, no, this person got so much value from it.
Yeah.
And if I give value to one person, that's all that matters. So I think it's definitely being able to recognize it and not sit in like that anxiety stage is the best thing, because you're not going to be able to get rid of it, in my belief.
I love that. I like the idea of reframing it as something that is kind of ever present but is okay. Like, I think it takes the heat out of it a little bit almost. If we're trying to get rid of it, then it becomes even bigger and more difficult. But I love those strategies of, writing it out and almost like balancing those negative thoughts
With a
around not
positive.
good enoughness with a positive, and also validating that with past experiences and the experience that other people have had with you, like, so that it's like social proof, right? It's like, actually, I can do this, and I have done that, and I did have an impact on that person's life. So quietens the inner voice.
For my big, I guess, like projects or something that I know imposter syndrome will creep up with. So when I was doing my masterclass for this year, I do know that with my imposter syndrome, it can also make me put things off.
Yeah.
I avoid things. So I create a really detailed action plan, and I'll just put dates next to it. So, I'll go through and be like, from today to launching the masterclass, what are the things I got to do? I got to write the program. I have to set up an email funnel, all these different things. And I'll put a week date on it. So once a week on a Monday, I give myself half a day to do like check-ins and like emails, all that sort of stuff, or fix up websites. I will go and be like, okay, let's just tick one thing off the list today. And so the days that you're not feeling great, you don't have to think about what to do, because there have been times where I will sit and stare at my computer for 2 hours and be like, I'm just so overwhelmed. What am I doing? I can now go to my list and be like, okay, all I need to do today is set up an email segment and set up a landing page. Tick, done.
Yeah. I love that, because confidence comes from action. I think
Yes.
we often think that we're going to get confident and feel better if we think it through more, but actually just doing something what is going to reinforce that you can do it.
Yeah. I actually
Excellent.
read something the other day that made me think of you, and it was about confidence and leadership. And it was a quote about how leadership does not come from having confidence. Confidence comes from leading. And it was really nice. And I was like, that is so true. Like, it's sort of just, you have to take that leap, and it is scary and it is daunting. But if you just take that one leap, you realize, actually, no, like, I'm 100% capable of this.
Totally. And choose what your worst option is, right? Like, you either feel uncomfortable and do it anyway and feel uncomfortable doing it, or you feel uncomfortable and hold yourself back and stay exactly in the same place. Like, choose your poison almost.
Yeah.
Like, they're both uncomfortable. One is growing and one is staying the same.
Yeah.
So you just got to choose.
Yeah.
Comes back to intention.
Yes. We're all
Full
being
circle.
intentional.
Right? Oh, Oprah would be so proud with our full circle moment. I would love to hear any challenges that you've experienced. Like, I know you've said imposter syndrome and there's a lot of these external kind of voices, but have there been any obstacles or challenges that you've had when you're trying to forge this new version of success?
I think one, like, is not a huge challenge, but definitely like I've acknowledged is coming from like a very ethnic family. In a way, I always like my grandma still doesn't understand what I do. I feel like it's like you have a shop front, like you have a physical, or you're a doctor or a teacher or an accountant. Like, so that has been like for me, that's been a challenge too, because I think people feel like they can call on you every hour of the day.
Yeah.
So setting boundaries with family is really hard, especially when your grandma lives downstairs and she is just the sweetest thing in the world. But it's like good and bad. Do you know what I mean? So I think that has been challenging in a way because it's torn me to be like, I want to help you today. I want to go to the grocery shop and buy you 10 kilos of flour that you want.
Yeah.
But no, I've got to say, I've got to do things today. So that's been in a way a challenge, and also more, oh, she doesn't really do anything sort of thing. Owning what I do has been a challenge. Like I said, about saying I'm a content creator. I do not like the word, but I'm an influencer. That is what I do. That has been a challenge to even express that for me. But other than that, I think I've always found joy in upskilling. So when it comes to actual challenges in terms of my knowledge, I really enjoy that. I love upskilling. I love learning. The latest challenge I had was outsourcing.
Yeah. That's
So
hard when you're like, when you
yes,
are your business. Yeah.
when you are your business, and like the one thing that was ingrained in me from a child, which I think is silly, but it's still true, is no one will ever love your business as much as you do. So you need to do everything yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but also there are people out there who, like, I look at my mentor now. She like cheers me on more than I do, or she calls me up on things when I don't do them, right? That accountability is incredible, and I've outsourced that. I now have someone who edits and posts all my content. I approve. I never thought I would do that. And and the thing is, people don't even know. So
No.
the thing I've learned that the thing I always say, like when I starting out a business, like when you're right at the beginning, start ugly, refine later.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to quote that down.
Yeah.
Start ugly, refine
Refine
later.
later. So that's one of my biggest things, because
Yeah.
when it comes to a website, when it comes like these little things, when you're staring at it isolated, so when you're staring at just one image on your website and you're like, oh, it's not perfect, blah, 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 like you holding back on that is going to tumbleweed everything else, right? But when you look at in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing really. So I'm always like, start ugly, refine later. Do not invest 50 grand into a website or like a stupid, like some of the things that people tell me, I'm like, no, 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 you don't need this yet. And with this day and age with social media, there are so many ways to create a community, get sales without having to spend so much upfront on websites, branding, marketing, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one thing. And I learnt that through having the cafe. I used to be so particular, my poor staff back then, about how the chairs were lined up
Oh, yep.
and
That
pushed
sounds
in
important.
properly.
I'm like that with my dining table, actually.
If any of my old staff are listening to us, I apologize.
Yeah.
But I look at it now and I go, in the grand scheme of things, I don't care. And so they're the little things I started to learn.
Yeah. It's amazing how our brain can focus and hone in on the small, less impactful things as a distraction, because that's, oh, I feel in control. If I control where the chairs are, I'm in control, instead of having to do a 5-year business strategy, which is to, it's interesting how our brains can really drive us to hone in on the certain stuff, so that we just, and like perfectionism is a massive form of procrastination. Like you said, when we hone in on that one thing on our website, it's not because of the thing on our website, it's because it's too scary to do the things.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's like my biggest thing. I'm always like, guys, just start ugly. And truth being, it's probably only ugly for me, no one else.
Yeah, exactly. No one else notices.
Yeah.
But also just start.
Yeah.
Right? Like
think about brands. How many rebrands have your favorite brands had? How many times have they redesigned a shop or a product? Or, it's like I think everything stems from community. And I know, like, yes, you can have an amazing product, but if you do not have a good community behind you, it's not going to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where, like we said before, connecting with your why or your purpose and making sure that your purpose is aligned with a community is really important. Because if your purpose is something that's completely left of field, then you're going to really struggle to get a community
Yes.
that's in alignment with that because no one else wants it.
Yes.
I mean, I think that would be rare, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have so many pearls of wisdom, which I really love. And you're moving into this space of sort of mentoring, coaching, and helping others, I guess, kind of learn from your experience. Is that fair?
Yes, definitely. So I've worked across several industries when I think
Mm,
about it. And starting from, I did product manufacturing to wholesaling to like commercial catering, cafe, managing staff, then going into consulting on all different industries. There is so much, and also in terms of like back end tech and things like that I love. But the biggest thing is sometimes you're so in your head, like we were saying, that you can't understand. And for me, the biggest trajectory in my business in the last 5 years has been outsourcing and seeking help.
mm,
And I see more and more women starting a business because they want something for themselves, but doing it on your own is really difficult. And I think I remember one day having a bad day and I was having a cry. And the one thing I was like, I just want someone in my corner. And it's different to having a partner or a family member, like, they're always going to sit there and be like, it's okay, you'll be fine.
yeah, you're great.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, this will be great. I get that all the time. It's like, that's not
I
helpful.
know. So I want to be that pillar of support. I want to help you figure out everything that's going on in your head. Let's, forge a really good roadmap and be able to create that action plan to get you from where you want to be. So I work with anyone from I have an idea and I want to launch it.
Hmm.
So going back to like my retreats, I don't even know how I think about this now. I'm like, how did you do this? From the idea of doing retreats to selling out, it was 6 months. And
Mm.
like, that's an international retreat too. There are a lot of late night conversations with people that do not speak good English.
Yeah.
But being able to do that. But then I want to be able to help the people who are currently in business and maybe feeling stuck, or I want to help you skip the burnout stage or like that sort of style. I want to work with content creators who want to turn their side hustle of, oh yeah, I get a few brand deals here and there to, okay, you can be a business. So they're sort of the aspects of what I do, but I do it in a mastermind, not in one-on-one.
Hmm.
Reason
Okay.
is there is so much power to learn
Yeah.
from others.
Hmm.
So very small though, 6 people, like no more than
Wow.
six in a mastermind. Um, some of the best things I've learned in terms of even marketing were from someone in an opposite industry. So
Mm.
when I first had my cafe, a friend of mine who owns now an international online e-commerce clothing store used to come in all the time. That was the start of using influencers for like sending them clothes. At that point, no one did it for cafes. Like it just wasn't a thing. So when I was like, and I did a bit of catering for her, so I got to know some of the local creators and influencers. And I was like, I'm going to invite them in. And everyone was like, you're stupid. Why are you going to give away your food for free? It's not going to do anything.
You showed them.
The moment that happened, we couldn't handle our weekends anymore. There were some days I had to close off. If anyone remembers Miss Bliss, we had like an alleyway and we would sometimes put seating out there. We had to stop that because the kitchen couldn't keep up with it because it was
Wow.
over like 100 seats. So the one thing is to be able to bring women together. They might be in different stages to be able to host that mastermind of let me educate you on things, but also what do you need help with? It's not a course. It's not saying every week is this structured like material. It's
Mm.
let me understand your business. Where do you need help? It might be that we're into legals and people are like, I need help with that. Cool. Let me get my lawyer to come in and answer
Mm.
some questions, do your little Q&A.
Hmm.
Or if I've got people starting, you need to know how to actually set up your business the best way that's going to work for you. Or do we need to talk about email funnels? Okay, right, let's talk about tech. My favorite subject at the moment is AI. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how can you do more in less time with
Yeah.
the help from AI? So you can spend an afternoon with your kids, or me, don't touch my computer till 10 a.m. some days because I'm like, I know I can get that all done in a few hours.
Dream.
It,
What a dream.
it used to take me so long to like, do all that sort of stuff. And so that's where my support comes in.
Yeah, amazing. So it's really like a a customized choose your own adventure of wherever you're at in your journey, your people can join your mastermind and have you, like you said, in their corner, like their greatest cheerleader, but
Yeah.
not just someone who cheers, someone who also mentors and teaches and guides and trains and
Yes.
challenges. Like it sounds amazing.
Yeah. And I also like with my masterminds, there's I do a Telegram group. So Monday to so in between the calls, I don't know, say you've scheduled out some emails and you want me to look over them, send me the link.
Amazing.
So it's like that support from Monday to Thursday. I was like, I look at it from where I sat when I was doing at the start of that journey. And
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure, there were little things like, oh, I'm changed the website and I've put this here. Like, do you think this worked? Like, just give me your advice, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then social content as well. What's going to work best?
Yeah. I love it because I know when I first started my business, I signed up to a few kind of groups, but they were so broad and non-specific that after 6 months it's like I didn't really get anything out of that
Yeah.
except for, less money in my bank account
Yeah.
because it's not tailored and it really does need to you just especially when you're in that early stage, like you need someone to meet you where you're at,
Mm. And
not just
that's,
like
yeah.
pelt information at you that you
Yeah.
might need to use eventually down the track.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about starting my next one. So I'll start in about 4 weeks. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know. I haven't looked, like, I don't even know how we're nearly at April. So,
No, no,
I just don't know where we
great.
are right now. But I'm really excited about that because like I just have so much passion to be like, what's your goal, where you at? And I think today when I was speaking to someone, I said, I want to also be able to meet in a place of like holistic. So when it comes to imposter syndrome and that you need a pep talk, let's go. Like
Yeah.
there are so many things that I do personally for my well-being in business that
Mm.
have helped me be a better person and show up as a better business owner.
Mm. So all of the information on your mastermind is in the caption
Oh,
magically.
yeah.
So people can find out more. And I would never be so bold as to ask you to give away any of your secrets. But I do have a question around how you suggest people can just shift that mindset from that idea of like you were saying before, I'm supposed to live this path that someone has suggested this is what I'm supposed to
Mhm.
be doing, so that conformity to that intentionality. Like is there a hack? Like how do you suggest people kind of change, like shift from that mindset because it's
Mindset.
so ingrained?
I think it just comes down to defining what your vision of success is. And in order to do that, I truly believe you need to get outside of your day to day.
Yeah.
You need to like rid of that, whether it is taking yourself on a little private, book one of those places in the middle of nowhere for 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
take a journal, find some really good journal prompts in sense of maybe I should write some. Maybe that's a good thing to do. But
Yeah, there you go, your next Substack.
yeah, maybe guys, you never know. But you need to start reflecting. And it's not easy by all means. It is uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that will come up that you'll be like, oh, that feels icky, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get to that new, like I say, in order to level up, to reach that next level, you need to feel uncomfortable.
Mm.
So it's not an easy task, but the payoff is well worth it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're uncomfortable, that's such an important sign that you're not in your comfort zone
Yes.
anymore, which is great. If you're always comfortable, then you're living in your comfort zone, which means you're not growing or stretching, which is fine if that's what you're choosing.
Yeah. But
But it rarely is.
yeah, like I have moments where, like now, for the second half of this year, let me get through the next 3 months, is
Yeah.
going to be like a comfortable zone because The first half was setting everything in order. The second half is like, okay, now let's write out the plan, like the plan that I've put down.
Yeah.
And I think people need to understand, if you want to find your vision of what success is, and it might be, if you want to have like the materialistic things, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's find a way to make that possible without burning out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to end up like me when I had the cafe crying on the kitchen floor every night. Like, that's not what it's about. And I think the one thing to first acknowledge is that it doesn't have to be hard. Like, there are ways to get around it. It might be uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to be hard. And I hear, because at an event the other day, and I just hear everyone being like, oh my God, I'm just so busy. I haven't stopped. I haven't had a weekend. And I'm like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, very, then there's little things that can be done to start with, even. Like, I'm a big believer in getting a cleaner. Every second week, I have a cleaner come in for 3 hours, and the amount that it gives me of my time. So I'm not running around as soon as I log off from work doing things, but also it's so nice. And I think I'm more productive in a beautiful space, right?
Yeah.
And I look at it and I go, well, the price of that cleaner for 3 hours is my price for 1 hour that I would charge out.
Exactly.
Well worth it for my sanity and also for my schedule.
Yeah. And I think you do have to start thinking about your time in that way, right? Like, is my time better spent cleaning the toilets, or is it better spent doing things that I'm passionate about, that are revenue generating ideas that are going to move my business towards my goals? I want to touch on what you said, because this has really hit me recently.
Yeah.
I was saying to my friend the other day, I've had all these Jackies come into my life recently, and you're one of them, and my psychologist is another one. And I was talking to the other Jacqui,
Yeah.
the third, and what came up was, it doesn't have to be hard for you to deserve it. And the fact that you just said that, like, all my Jackies are colliding into this Jackie world, but it's so interesting because, like, I think we are kind of groomed, molded to believe, to prioritize hard work over easy work.
Yes. Yes.
And, like, if you work hard, you can have the car or the house or the life or whatever. And so it's kind of flipped on its head now. And I think a lot of us just assume that if it comes to me, if it flows, then it mustn't be right and I mustn't deserve it. How can I make this harder so that I feel worthy?
I think it's when you're one word that someone used the other day for me was like, you're in alignment,
Yeah.
because things, and I feel like things have paid off in that way, but it doesn't have to be hard. Like I was saying before, I think I found myself for a while saying, I feel like I'm living a dream, like things are too good.
Mm.
And I've had to stop saying that, because I think once you level up to that next level, and you're number one, we're all so deserving of it in that way, is that everything just, things come, but it's not because it's like, oh, this is only once, this is only going to come once. Like, this is just because you have, like, you're at that new level now and you're
Yeah.
accepting it. And I think I had a conversation with a very good friend of mine. We do monthly, like, financial 1 hour meetings, and we talk about our financial goals and things like that, because people struggle to talk about money. It's very hard to talk about. And it's so nice to have a friend that I can be so frank with. Like, when I get a great brand deal and I'm excited about it, I call her first up. I'm like, oh my God, this is what, I scored a 1 year ambassadorship with a German company, flying me to Germany, and I was like, this has just nailed my quarterly budget that I wanted to bring in. We sit down and we're talking, and we said, for so long, I earned a level of money that was paying the bills and doing everything. When I understood of how deserving I was, and that it wasn't hard, because that's what we were saying about, it doesn't have to be me working 10 extra hours a week or working late nights. I was able to sort of break this. And I think it was honestly a mindset shift, this glass ceiling of, oh, wow, there's so much more opportunity. And I think it's the same. We think we need to put in more effort for the outcome, but we don't really. And it's all about working off the relationships we've built for the last X amount of years. Or we don't understand that we've probably been working so much and it's accumulated. And I look at it in the sense of like my social media and content and things like that. The level of long-term partnerships I'm getting now with brands I've never worked with, but it is because of everything, not past Jacqui, but everything I've done in the past.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think we, I guess, appreciate that. And I don't think we acknowledge that. And it's sort of like, oh, just one thing just happened. So I think it doesn't have to be hard, because for however many years I've been on the same track and I've been authentic, I've been vulnerable, I've done everything I need to do. You do the things and it pays off. But it doesn't mean it needs to be 15-hour days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what most people don't understand.
Yeah, it's cumulative, right? Every interaction you have and every impact that you have is propelling you towards your future self, right? And I think the other thing, like, it doesn't have to be hard, and there isn't a scarcity of success. There's not a fine, like, your success doesn't take someone else's success
away. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's such a mindset shift. Like, one person's wealth isn't taking money from someone else.
Yeah.
There is actually like infinite success and abundance in the world, and you're entitled to yours. I say that because this is all new to me. Like, this is like big mindset stuff that I need to work, that I'm consistently currently working on. But I find it so interesting that we have this, like, well, I guess in Australia we really have a bit of a tall poppy thing, don't we?
Don't even get me started.
Well, we do. Like,
we
it's
do.
such a brain, like, oh, that person's doing well. What can we nitpick, or what can we do to bring them back down?
It must be because of this. Like,
they were lucky. She's lucky.
Yep. Like, I was just recently in Melbourne for a charity that I work with, and we hope, and like, even working with like corporations to try and get sponsorship and like support, it's just been so hard. And there's been this clear vision of tall poppy syndrome throughout Australia at the moment, and I don't understand why. And it's like, for me, I've always been like, what do you need? What can I help with? What can be done? You know, and I think one thing that I learned through that and understanding that was that I need to actually be my biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
Like, I never used to acknowledge when I got to a certain level of things, like a goal or whatever. And I think it was my my current coach, mentor, that, you know, when I sold out retreats last year, she's like, let's go out for lunch. Let's sell it. And like, for me, it was like, okay, what's the next thing? I need to keep running. So I think you have to be your own cheerleader, and you have to take time to acknowledge your success. And, you know, and it might just be you're having a really off week, but the fact that you got something done that felt really hard to do, you know, or you've been sick for a week, and the fact that you spent half the day sitting at your desk because you felt a little bit better getting something done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're too hard on ourselves.
I agree. And I think if you're always outsourcing for someone else to cheer you on, then you're always at the mercy of someone else cheering you on. But if you can find it intrinsically and find a way that you can support yourself in that way, then you're not relying, and you're not giving other people the power to have that kind of tall
or
poppy,
to take it away from you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not sort of crowdsourcing, like, did I do well? You know, how many likes or how many, you know, whatever have I got for people to go, great job? Like,
it's interesting because I was actually at an event last night. I've been thinking about this for like the last, I'm not going to say 24 hours, maybe 12 hours. I did sleep in between, so not a lot of thinking. But they made a comment because they follow me online and were like, oh, I wish I could do what you do. Like, I'm just too scared what people would think. And I was like, and it made me realize how far I've come, because obviously I used to overthink that. I'm the sort of person that's like, now, like, I had Hagrid hair the other day because I washed it and fell asleep with it wet. It was out to here. And I was like, good morning, guys. Like, got to go get coffee, take my dog for a walk. I've just come to think, like, and this is in terms of my mindset shift and all the inner work I've done. Like, I love talking business, but also on this side, I've learned that if someone is going to judge me from the outside, whether it is the way I look, the way I talk, a cake I make that they don't like the way I stirred it, which can happen. Trust me,
God.
it is a reflection on them rather than me. And I think when I started to understand that, I started to be surrounded by different people. I started to not really care, but not in the way that I would never do something to harm someone or to be malicious, but I honestly just don't care if you think that, like, because I do a lot of my Eat Like a Local episodes, people are like, that place was trash when I went. Lovely. I'm glad. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a reflection on them, not on me. I actually had the other week a lady call me fat on social media, and I was like, I never had this before.
Just jerks.
But also, I'm like, that is a reflection on you. And like, a lot of
Yeah.
people reached out and were like, are you okay? I was like, about what? Like, I forgot about it. I was like, I'm fine. I just think once I started to change that mindset, but
Yeah.
I also struggle when I do meet people who are, oh, well, what will people, and I'm like, I feel like now it's an easy hurdle to get over, but I know it's not. But for me, I'm like, oh, well, who cares what they think? And they're like, no, but like, and I'm like, oh, like, I don't, so I need to now find that middle mark because I'm so far this way that I'm like, I don't really care. If you're going to judge me, you're going to judge me. But then over here, I'm like, okay, I have to support that, like, teach people how to, in a way, not get stressed, like, over the fact of what will others think.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a journey in itself, right? Like, it's not a overnight,
No.
yesterday I was worried, today I'm not bothered. It's like and everyone, I think, I don't know what your thoughts are about, like, everyone has an Achilles heel, I think if people, there's always something that someone can say that makes you go, oof.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just have people telling me to shut the F up, and I'm like, mate, I've been hearing that my whole life.
Yeah.
Still haven't shut up. In fact, I started a podcast, so suck it.
Yeah, I think being able to understand when those feelings come up and sort of like, if I am like, ooh, I'm like, actually, Jacqui, why are you feeling that way? And really, it's not, I can't take on that person's energy. So I think, yeah, I found that really interesting having someone make that comment to be like, I wish I could do what you, and I was like, no, but like anyone could do that. Like, everyone has the capability to do it, but it's just having, and there's some days that I don't want to get up on, like the last few days, because I was away hosting, it was an event for 2,600 people in need. And it was like 3 days prep, what the event day, and then post event. I was like, oh, I don't really want to talk to anyone. So I took a few days just being silent, and that's fine. But I do have to show up for my community, and I've learned enough not to really care. And I think they appreciate that, because a lot of people have reached out and like, you're so confident. How did you get like that? And I'm like, I'm just being me. Also, I like to talk, and no one's at home besides my dog. So if I can talk to you guys on here.
Yeah, right. I talk to myself all the time. All the time. It's out of hand. And also my dog, like, I swear even he looks at me and he's like, you still talking? Are you still talking?
Yeah.
I'd love to just touch on, like you said, you just had this huge event, but then you still have this community that you show up for. How do you balance that ambition, but also it's not even just ambition because it's purpose-led, right? So how do you balance that drive to live that purpose, but also your well-being?
Being 100% vulnerable.
Yes to everything.
Being vulnerable. Like, I put up a post the other day sharing that, and I said, I'm feeling torn, because I am so proud that we hosted this event that took us 2 years to be able to raise the funding for it, which we want to be able to do every year, because it provides essential services, clothing, food, shoes, everything. But I felt so emotional because I met some children that I would never wish a child to be in their position.
Yeah.
And I'm such an empathetic person. And I think that's, to be honest, I'm so happy to have my nephews over tonight, because I just want to lie in bed and watch a movie and cuddle with them, because I feel so emotional from some of the children I met, and families, and individuals. And I'm honest about that. So I put up some stories, and I said, I'm so proud we've done this, but I'm so torn because I wish I didn't have to do it. I wish it wasn't needed. And I said, most of you won't believe me, but I am an introvert, and I just need some time. Also, outsourcing someone to do your content and posting it for you means I'm technically still on, like, I'm a week ahead
Yeah.
in my content. So there's still a post went up that night.
Yeah.
And then I had someone text me, but then they saw my story and she literally messaged me. She goes, don't even respond to me till Monday. Like, so I have people that respect my boundaries, but
Hmm.
also I am open with my audience to say, hey guys, I need a bit of time to recharge. And like, I actually want to unpack the charity event I did with my audience because you never know who will be able to support you in the future, which is something
Hmm.
to do another day. And I actually don't even know the words for what I experienced over those few days over the weekend. And I don't think I'll ever really have the words, but they're things I'm 100% vulnerable with my audience. If I'm not
Yeah.
feeling great, I'll say it, you know? And I feel like my audience, because I see what some other people deal with, my audience are quite understanding. So I'll just get messages that be like, thinking of you. Hey, if you want to grab a coffee, let me know. But no one will ever question
Yeah.
why I'm feeling like.
Yeah.
So I'm really appreciative of that. And I'm in those times, I also try and journal because maybe it will bring up something that I can use in a Substack that will help someone else. Like I did a post just before Christmas about not being someone who really enjoys Christmas. And is it because I'm single? And how I struggle, but how I also get through it. And
Mm.
like I actually didn't think it was going to get like, I don't write things because I want some sort of like anything back from it. But the messages I got, like, I was like, this is why I share what I do.
Yeah.
And this is why I share these things because people feel like they're seen.
Yeah. But also, like, it feels like there's a really important level of self-awareness there as well for you to know what you need and be able to identify your needs and then, create those boundaries around them rather than trying to just push through or suppress those feelings or put on a facade, right? Like it feels like all of those things are interconnected.
So I did about 2 years of inner work,
Yeah.
the same company, and that's who I actually did my podcast with this morning. The same company, two different coaches, which was amazing because every time I went to them was for a different thing. So I
Yeah.
first went and I had Ant, who owns the business, male coach. We worked through everything that was wired in me from a child,
Yeah.
worked through all the issues that like how understanding how my dad works and why when I had my cafe, my dad would walk in every single day and be like, are you making money today?
Mm.
And I used to take that negatively, right?
Hmm.
But understanding that that was his way of connecting with me because that's how he's always been.
Yeah.
And it made me realize it made me understand a lot of things that happened in my childhood. And then I sold Miss Bliss, everything was fine. I went back to Ant and I said to him, everything feels too good, something's going to go wrong. And he actually put me with a female coach, M, who I didn't understand, I know at that point, but she had married a Greek guy and had a very good understanding of our Greek Orthodox faith because Ant knows that I'm a Christian and I always, my faith is one thing. And she was able to help me understand masculine and feminine.
Hmm.
And that was during the period that I was like, went to Italy and was like, it's okay to be like, I found that feminine energy and that I could work from that. But she also taught me like in their program, they do like morning journaling and stuff. But she was like, I remember her telling me, she's like, I don't want you to journal in the morning. I want you to write your prayer out.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. Like, I didn't know. And I still do it now. And it's the most beautiful thing because there is a power in like, for me as a Christian, if I pray out loud or physically writing it, it's different from being up here.
Yeah.
And it's a way of journaling. And the process I went through with her was so different from what I went through with Ant because she had this understanding of my faith. So if I had come in and she knew I was having a rough week and I was struggling, the first thing she said is, have you prayed? And I think having that support was so beautiful. And I'm very grateful to them both for everything they've given me. But having someone that's able, because a lot of people think inner work is woo woo. It's not a psychologist, it's not a therapist. Like, if people think
Yeah.
and especially coming from a very, again, ethnic family, why are you spending money on that? You know?
Yeah.
Um, to have someone that was able to be like, this is okay, but also let's layer it with your Christian faith was
Mm.
so comforting. And I just think it was just the most beautiful thing. And I think those 2 years, which weren't back to back, it was like 1 year, then a little bit more. And I even say, like, I will go back and do it again. Like,
Yeah.
there's never an end point. And I think
Hmm.
that's also when you drop the ego in business, in life, you understand that you need to constantly be learning and understanding yourself.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that is what has got me to where I am. And that's what I love to bring into, like, when I do my mentoring and my masterminds, like, hey, let's look at this holistically. If you're avoiding this, why are you avoiding it? Like, there's got to be something underlying. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. And I mean, obviously I'm super biased, but as a coach, but I just think that that's such an important example of the power of coaching, getting someone in your team and getting someone who will um, tailor their approach to what's actually going to be
mm,
resonant for you instead of just this like, and
cookie
same as what
cutter.
you're doing with your mastermind. Yeah, instead of this cookie
Yeah.
cutter, because like, spoiler alert, we're not all the same shaped cookie cutter.
Mm.
Like, we
Yes.
all are in, and we're all at different stages in our journeys as well. But I agree with you. I just to sort of highlight, like, you don't wake up one day and go, okay, I've done the work and I'm
Oh
perfect
yeah.
now. It's lifetime stuff.
Yes.
You know, it's every day. What do I need to work on? How do I align? You know, did I do what I wanted to do today? Did I live with intention? Some days it will be, whoops, nah.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't set you back. You know, there are times where I'm like, oh my God, I was so stressed this week that I think I snapped at people,
Yeah.
you know, but then
I
being
can
able to,
imagine you snapping at
oh
people,
yeah,
Jacqui.
I can. Oh, and especially when I'm tired, I love my sleep.
Yeah. Oh,
And like,
same. I hear you. I hear that.
you know, also having people around you that, in a way, not that any, like, but understand that and be like, hey, she like, and I usually, like, I 100% admit I struggle to then be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's usually a text message from me to be like, I'm so bloody tired. And like,
Mm.
and then you know what? The text message I usually get back is, I'm so proud of you because you've done like XYZ this week. It's
Yeah.
okay. Like, I think also because I am the sort of person who, because I am quite vulnerable and authentic, people know that I'm not out there to be malicious to anyone.
Yeah.
So like, if and it usually means that it's something underlying. So whether it's me, like, I am also surrounded by friends who have done work as well on themselves. So then they know that, oh, there's
Mm.
something underlying here.
Yeah.
And it's the same with my friends. When I know something's going on, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. Like,
Yeah. There's something so powerful about having your squad or having really good friends that have done the work as well and can stretch us
yeah,
and challenge us. Like I have this I'm same, but I have this group of people that are just like they make me a better version of
yes.
myself, not because they just agree with everything, but because they really question things and encourage me to do the
Oh,
same.
and it's
It's like such
uncomfortable.
a
Like, I
privilege.
have one friend who's like, but why did you feel that way? And I'm like, oh my
Don't
God,
ask me those
yeah.
questions.
Also, my coach does the same. She's like, so what have you learned from this? And I'm like, it's like, let me drink my coffee before I respond to that.
Yeah. Let me take a deep breath. Let me do some box breathing and then I'll
Yeah.
come back to you. So, if you now that you've done so much work, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice or tell her one thing, what would it be?
Get support earlier. Like, I wish I started with my coach much earlier than I did,
Interesting.
because we're now great friends. But also,
Yeah.
like, I always thought I had to do it on my own. I always thought 100% I had to do it on my own. And it might take you a while to find the right person. But like, whether it is an inner work coach or a business, like, I wouldn't even call her a business coach. I don't know. She like helps with everything, but it is just
Mm.
having someone in your corner.
Yeah.
And I think, I wish, you know, I wonder what Miss Bliss would have been like if I had that. You know,
Yeah.
would I have been crying? But then again, I know my journey, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, so I think if I could have, I probably would have outsourced a little bit earlier, or even into my inner work, gotten that
Mm.
help a little bit earlier. I think there was a lot of in my upbringing, I had a lot of ego to like, I don't need help.
Uh,
So, in the way, outsourcing earlier would have also taken me to drop the ego, to do multiple things before I got there. So, if there's one thing for people to think about, it's find the right person to support you. And I know like a lot of it comes down to financial, like can I,
yeah. Yeah.
but I know this is so cliche, but it paid off tenfold for me in
Yeah.
my mental health, in the way my business runs, in everything.
Yeah. I agree. And I was the same. Like the reason that I am where I am is because I had a leadership coach about 8 years ago and I was like, oh, this is a thing.
Mm.
Like, I think that's such a good piece of advice. Asking for help or getting help doesn't make you less than.
No.
And I love this African proverb that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
And I just love that idea of, get that squad, get that crew, get that help or coach, and that will propel you forward.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you'd like to share? You've been such a fountain of wisdom.
No, I think we've covered a lot. Like, there's so much there. I'm an open book. So like if this resonates with anyone, and I'm always like, slide into my DMs. Like,
Yeah, and we've got all of the links in the caption to be able to find you. I always ask my guests what's one book they recommend everyone read. But before I ask you that, I want to know what your favorite food is.
something of my grandma's. Let me think. Oh, okay. We call it magaronya. And this is, so how Italians do the like, is it like the little pastina pasta in like a broth? So
Yeah.
what she does is cooks a whole chicken in the broth, but then cooks this special pasta in it. And then we eat just the pasta in the broth, but like grated halloumi over the top. It
Yum.
is. And like when I'm sick, that's what I ask her for.
Yeah, it's a hug in a bowl. Oh, I love that.
I,
So what is your favorite book? What book do you
I
recommend?
love Heartbake by Charlotte Ree. And it was the first non-business book I read. Like I was always like into like self-help books. And then I heard about this book because I don't remember why. And I remember I was on the Gold Coast for like 3 days to just like relax. I went to Pack Fair and I walked around that place is so big,
Oh,
to
it's
find this one book. And I'm not a fast reader. I'm a very slow reader. I read it in a whole day and a half. And it is the most beautiful. I cried, I laughed, so it's not a cookbook. It is her story about love and like, but every chapter, every story she tells has a recipe associated with it. It is just, I can't even like, I want to read it again, sort of thing. And I'm not that person. I don't rewatch movies and I don't reread books.
Me neither.
Yeah,
I was
people
saying
think
that
I would.
the other night. I was like, why would anyone rewatch a movie? That's
I know.
weird.
So maybe we've got great memories and that's why.
Yeah.
And then a few months ago, actually, when I was in Italy last year, I always wondered why I can go out by myself in Italy for dinners and stuff and don't do it in Australia. And she launched a supper club at the W Hotel. And I was about to text my best friend and be like, do you want to go? And I was like, nah. I was like, I'm just going to buy a ticket. So that was the first of like this concept of like that I wanted to do dinner with strangers. But I went, I met her. It was just the most wholesome experience. And like, it was everything about that book in person. And I loved it. So that is my favorite book. I talk about it all the time. You will cry.
Okay. So what's it called? Heartbake
Heartbake.
by who?
Charlotte Ree, Ree.
Okay, so where can everyone connect with you? Is socials the best? Is signing
Socials
up
are
to
the
your
best.
Substack website?
Yeah, socials and signing up to my Substack. If you're in business and like want to jump in there, you can sign up to my Intentional Impact email list. I've actually put a new link in bio, so like it's all there.
Perfect.
Every touch point. If you want to come to Italy with me this year, like get in touch.
Amazing.
There's lots of I feel like there's something for everyone, and that's so cliche, but like in wherever you are in your journey, there's somewhere for me to meet you.
I love that. And you know what? Like I'm a big believer in if you can't see it, you can't be it.
Yeah.
Which is like an absolute, which is, there's nuances, but I think the fact that you have created this life of intention where you have sort of built a different version of success, having other people, other women in particular, see that that's actually possible and that's something they can do is so inspiring. So I'm incredibly grateful to you for spending time with us today and sharing your story. And I just can't wait to continue to see what you do next.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine. And for those who are listening, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next time.